Now that you sat down, guess what I'm going to do? Good afternoon, everyone. I know, sorry. It's 4:30 in the afternoon on April 5, 2017, and I would like us to please, if you can, stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now to begin our council meeting, may I please have a roll call?
Pete Hamill.
Here.
Randy Funkert.
Here.
Fred Hint.
Here.
Greg Gills.
Here.
Zach Sawyer.
Here.
Thank you. First on the agenda is public comments. Are there any public comments at this time? Okay, just checking. Making sure there are none. So we'll move on to the second item on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. The EMA/fire applicant is Jared Holtrup. Jared Holtrup. Are there any questions, comments, concerns regarding the consent agenda? And if there is not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Support.
Thank you, gentlemen. And there are no comments. I would like a roll call, please.
Hint.
Aye.
Hamill.
Aye.
Gills.
Aye.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Funkert.
Aye.
Okay, going into new business, we will now open the public hearing, and this is on the matter of the adoption for amendment number 1 in the Trilogy Multi-Residential Urban Revitalization Plan. At this time, the public hearing is open. Are there any public comments regarding amendment number 1 to the Trilogy Multi-Residential Urban Revitalization Plan? This plan is to extend, it's a 5-year extension on the
10-year tax abatement
10-year tax abatement.
for multifamily properties,
Pardon me?
for multifamily residential properties.
Yep. So the plan that we have in place now is extending it 5 years. So let's say we have someone come in that wants to build, like we have now, that apartment complex, and they want a tax rebate program, the incentive program. We're just extending that for development. So nothing changed, just adding it a few more years on. Any other questions? I have a tick in my eye. Sorry, I have a twitch. So if I'm winking at you, it's just a twitch. Okay, I want to make sure. Have we received any written comments?
I have not.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, then do we have a motion then to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. And a roll call to close?
Funkert.
Aye.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Gills.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Hamill.
Aye.
Thank you. And then we need to approve by resolution adopting the proposed amendment number 1 of the Trilogy Multi-Residential Urban Revitalization Plan. Again, this is extending it another 5 years with the tax incentive, or tax rebate incentive in there.
Do you need a motion?
Yes.
So move.
Support.
Thank you. No further comments or questions, anything? Roll call, please.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Hamill.
Aye.
Funkert.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Gills.
Aye.
Number 4 on our agenda. Okay, this is going to get a little tricky. We are going to be discussing the general obligation capital loan notes not to exceed $850,000. There's three separate actions that we need to take. The first one is by resolution ratifying, confirming, and approving publication of notice of public hearing. What that means is Ange, our city clerk, has published this in the March 22nd, 2017 newspaper. So we have to approve that she did publish that by resolution.
So move.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. Got it. And a roll call, please.
Gills.
Aye.
Funkert.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Hamill.
Aye.
The next part now is opening the public hearing on the authorization of a loan note and the issuance of notes to evidence the obligation of the city thereunder. So at this time, the public hearing is open. It gets lengthy. Regarding the $850,000 general obligation capital loan notes. The public hearing is open. Are there any questions regarding these? If you recall, we talked about this was our last meeting or the meeting before. Having this helps us to secure our engineer for the wastewater treatment
Right.
facility. So public comments?
Is this also 16th Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, that included
Yes.
16th
Yes.
Street also. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Brad.
Only, yes.
Yes.
Engineer, yeah.
Yep.
There are no further questions or comments. Motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. Roll call to close, please.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Gills.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Funkert.
Aye.
Thank you. Then letter C is now the resolution instituting proceedings to take additional action. What this means, we are approving the issuance to get the funds. So we have to approve this by resolution. Do we have a motion to approve getting the funds?
Make the motion to approve.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Gills.
Aye.
Funkert.
Aye.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, Ange. Now, going on to number 5 in the new business, consider the amended contract for development and minimum assessment agreement. This is in regards to Greg Popma and Popma Trucking over there on the northwest side of town. If you recall, due to a paper filing error back in 2007 that we took care of with our amended urban renewal plan, his area was accidentally taken out. We put in, even though we have approved it, we need to reapprove it because we had to amend that urban renewal plan.
Okay.
So this is reapproving what we had already approved for Greg Popma and Popma Trucking. Any questions? I asked Ange before we met, or before we had our meeting the other day, was it seems so wordy and lengthy, all these things, but legally these are the terms we have to stick by and these are the things we have to do. So, do we have a motion to approve, again, the contract we had in place for Greg Popma?
So move.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. Do you have any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Funkert.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Gills.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is considered by resolution of support for the Baker Township School. We received a letter from the Prairie Arts Council on behalf of Mr. Harold Tuttle, who is the president, and Colleen Lemkuhl, who is their grant writer and a member. And what they are asking for is support for their application to a CAT grant in the amount of $20,000. The only thing they're asking of the city is for support, no financial obligation. We support them in cleanup days through the SEDC. We support them with some of the community events that they have. So it's more of a moral support in them filing for this grant. And for them to apply for this grant through the state, it has to come through the city by resolution of support. Any questions? If not, then do we have a
So
motion?
resolve.
Pardon me?
I move that we
Thank you.
resolve.
Support.
Thank you. And may I have a roll call, please?
Gills.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Funkert.
Aye.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Awesome. Number 7 on the agenda. Consider approval of purchase agreement on the Crossroads Pavilion, furniture, fixtures, and equipment. What we would like to do is give Sean, our city manager, approval up to $160,000 to make the purchases for the FF&Es at the event center. These decisions will be made by the board, and then Sean will follow through with the actual purchases without having to come to council each time. And of course, that is within what we have in our budget. Do you have anything further you would like to add to that, Sean?
No, these are our costs. We've identified that the funding through lost and other revenues. So it's simply going ahead with the purchases once a consensus is reached at the board level.
So I appreciate, the board has already been meeting, as some of you know, that are on there, Pete and Zach, such as picking out what fabric for chairs, what style of chairs, how many chairs, etc., the color of the plastic on the chairs. So the board determines all of that, and then Sean will go ahead and make the purchase. I see no problem at all, instead of Sean having to come each and every time to a council meeting, as long as it fits within the budget, and I think he's pretty good with sticking to what we have planned. Any questions, comments? If not, he would like this by approval, council approval. So do we have a motion to give Sean approval up to $160,000 on making the purchases based on the board's decision for the Crossroads Pavilion FF&Es?
So moved.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. Any questions, gentlemen? Roll call, please.
Gills,
Aye.
Himmel,
Aye.
Hint,
Aye.
Who are
Bunker,
you?
Sawyer.
Aye.
Sorry,
It's
Aye.
okay.
sorry about that.
It's all right.
Sorry
Who
about
are these
that,
people?
Randy.
Trying to switch around.
Trying to switch it up. Number 8 on the agenda, discussion of adding insulation under the concrete at the Crossroads Pavilion. Todd, you have your microphone. Are you willing to share that information with us, please?
Sure. This is something that came up at a construction meeting a while back. With the frost coming out and the weather turning nice, the contractor is going to be shifting gears soon to starting work on the patio and the other concrete work outside. As we were doing a walk around, we were talking about Sheldon's ground and the amount of moves, and the safeguard in place right now is by all the entrances there's a frost-free footing, so that the concrete directly in front of the doors will not heave up because it has a frost-free footing under it. But what came to our light is what if it heaves just outside of that frost-free footing? Now you potentially have a spot to pond or pool water right in front of your doorways and potentially cause other issues with your building. So we discussed it, we being myself, the engineer, and the contractor, and what's the best way to maybe resolve that problem. Not guaranteeing there's going to be a problem, but what if there is? And the best solution we could come up with is to put a layer of insulation under the concrete where it surrounds the building. I think Sean gave you all a paper drawing of the back patio and the front entrance. Yours isn't colored, but essentially your darker shaded areas, there would be 4 inches of insulation. The lighter shaded areas, there'd be 2 inches of insulation, and then after that, none. The reasoning behind that was to still not end up with a dead, no frost to more frost line. We've aligned those distances with saw cuts in the concrete. That way you've already got a fracture point there in case something does give. But we feel like, myself included, that this is the best way to prevent future issues with that concrete. The contractor has proposed a cost of around $7,800 to complete that work. If I get your guys' blessing today, then I'll share it with them at a construction meeting, and then you'll see a formal change order later. But with the weather changing, I kind of wanted to know your feelings ahead of time. To be honest with you, if we didn't have the time that we have, I feel strongly enough about this, I may have field approved it and told you later. But since we have the time to do it the right way, that's why it's here in front of you today.
So you're recommending this is something we need to and we should do?
I
would
feel like
agree.
it's something we should do, simply because if we have an issue later, it's going to cost us a heck of a lot more than $7,800.
Right.
It's a pretty easy preventative measure. A little added reassurance.
Yeah.
I spoke with Councilman Sawyer about it on the phone prior to the meeting just because of his construction background, and he stated to me it's something that's becoming more common in the concrete world anymore. Just gives you another layer of protection.
I've read about it too, where they're starting to do more and more of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a cheap insurance policy for the future.
Right. And do you want approval or just go for it because the change order is going to come in then, or how do you want to go about that?
If you don't mind approval today, and then you'll actually approve it later.
With the change order, sure.
The actual change order, but I mean, you're essentially giving me the authority to spend, or to go ahead and tell the contractor we're on board with it now, but get us the actual number. But it's going to be around 7,800 is what he said.
Okay.
Do you need a motion?
Yes,
I move
please,
that
then,
we
yep. Mhm.
give Todd the authority to pursue this.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Support.
Thank you, Brad. Any further discussion?
Where are we at in terms of the contingency fund and the stuff that's coming out of it?
Well, if you remember the last change order that you approved, we added the AV into the contract, and that essentially brought us back to within, I believe, right at $5,000 of the initial contract. So this would put us $3,000 roughly above contractual price, but we added in $60,000 to the contract that was never in the contract, if you can follow that. So we're not into the contingencies of the actual bid price yet. That be a fair statement, Sean?
That would be a fair statement. And one of the items under the comments portion, we're looking at landscaping, gazebo, and other items that were not part of the project originally. So we're looking at developing costs, and I'll bring spreadsheets showing where we're at with contingencies and the items yet needed to complete the overall construction, seeking permission from council to bring that to the board and then proceed from there. But that's separate from the FF&E costs. So these are costs that were not considered originally. So that information will be brought to you at the next meeting.
Okay.
So to answer your question, Greg, if you forget about the adding 60,000 into the contract, we're currently still be about 30,000 under bid price yet.
And this is change order number,
This would be change order number 3. But you got to remember, change order number 1 was a $101,000 deduct. Change order number 2, I believe, was around a $95,000 addition, but 60 of that was already monies we planned on spending, but they were outside of the contract. We added them to the contract.
okay.
Is that new math? Okay, thank you, Greg, for that question. Are there any other comments or questions? All right, I'm going to take a roll call. You good with that, Greg, or are you still thinking? Okay, just want to make sure. May I have a roll call, please?
Sawyer.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Gills.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Bunker.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Todd. And then number 9 on the agenda is possibly going to closed session. This is for the city manager performance review. This is not evaluation. This is just a review up to date, how things are going. Sean, do you want to go into a closed session for this?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Okay, then do we have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Gills.
All right.
Hint.
Aye.
Bunker.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll wait till we swap the cameras. Yeah, and Todd, Lyle. Is that right? No audience out there? Okay.
Nope.
Awesome. Okay, coming out of closed session now at 5:40-ish, 5:40 p.m. No action is being taken. So the last item on the agenda is comments. Do we have any comments? Do you want to make reference to HTC rate? HTC did notify the city of Sheldon that their rates will be going up, and I don't have the date with me. I was looking for that email. But that was something that you had questioned.
Yeah, passing along increases coming from their providers, basically.
Correct.
The question was whether they're required under our code to run that through city council. They are not, but we ask for the courtesy that they do
Yes.
do that, so that we could just make note of it, that we were aware, and give the community a heads up.
So heads up, that may be coming down the pipe. Okay, thank you, Micah. Any comments to my right? Comments? Yep.
Unless there's any reservations by the city council, we're going to begin to look at advertising for the event center coordinator position. That is a permanent part-time 30-hour position.
Okay,
And that's what it was budgeted for. The plan is to begin to get something out, so we have people lined up when the general manager is in Sheldon, and she'll be part of the actual interviews.
great.
At that rate, 30 hours, do you have to provide health insurance?
No,
I think it's over 32 or 35. 35 maybe?
32, I
32,
believe
that's
is
why I'm only 32 at the
federal.
church.
Yep.
When is she coming?
We thinking about part-time people, are we going to continue that partnership with the college?
Yes, as far as the,
Assistant rec director?
I think that's what we want
Yes,
to continue.
yep.
The college, I think,
Okay.
wants to continue that with us
Yes,
also, so.
yeah, Retta,
yeah.
yes, they're very interested in continuing.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else then, Sean? Nope. Okay, then, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Support.
Okay, everybody in favor?
Aye.
No nays, thank you. Okay, then we are adjourned.
Is Josh, where do you know where he's going? Josh?
I think he's going to work on his education, isn't he?
Is anybody?